You're good. Yay!
Well, welcome to Arianna Center's 6th anniversary celebration. On behalf of Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network, we welcome you to this very special moment. I'm Core News Tonight's anchor, Al Ferguson, and we have just gone live. Thousands are going to see this special celebration for Arianna's Center. We are broadcasting here from Sunshine Cathedral here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. As you know, this is Transgender Awareness Week. And this Saturday, November 20th, is International Transgender Day of Remembrance. How appropriate to celebrate the anniversary of one of the nation's most important trans services providers, Arianna Center. Tonight we celebrate our trans community and this incredible organization, and we have two special guests first to get our broadcast in this 6th anniversary celebration off to the right start. First, we want to bring up our host tonight, and of course he needs no introduction. He is the leader of the largest queer church in the world, Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins from Sunshine Cathedral.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I am a little bit embarrassed. When I came here, I just thought, I'm coming to work or whatever, I'm dressed for it. What I didn't know is that Al had hired a stripper dressed like a priest to be here tonight. So that was a little harrowing trying to get through here. I'm glad to be able to welcome you to our home. In fact, this is your home. The thing about a cathedral is that it serves a larger community. And so whenever you want to do a thing and you need the space to do it, we hope you know that this is your home and you're welcome here. I'm so appreciative of the work of the Arianna Center. I referred someone to you just yesterday. In fact, someone called from the west coast of the state. They knew of someone in our part of the state, in Miami, and they needed services, they needed help, and they didn't know who to call. And I said, I know exactly who you should call. And so it was the only referral I made, in fact, because it was such a perfect match for them. I want to tell you one little story because you're in church. And some of you, I only see you at community events or, Christmas and Easter. So since I have you, I want to tell you this one little religious story. In the Hebrew scriptures, there are several names for the divine. One of them is Elohim. And the fascinating thing about the name Elohim is that the pronoun for Elohim is they. Elohim is non-binary. Elohim covers a broad spectrum. In other traditions, Elohim is a name used for a male god in the Moabite tradition, but also for a female goddess, Astarte, in another tradition. And so Elohim is the God of the Hebrews, but also God of other people. Elohim sometimes presents as male and sometimes presents as female. Elohim is plural, and yet when the Hebrews use it, they use it as if it is singular. And so Elohim, tonight especially, seems very much to be our God. And I am so appreciative of the work of the Arianna Center and all of our community organizations that work to make people know wherever they are in life and on the various scales and trajectories of life, that we are all made in the divine image, specifically maybe in the image of Elohim. So thank you, Arianna Center. Thank you all for being here tonight. Just a few reminders that this is Transgender Awareness Week. I believe tomorrow ends that. Saturday, the International Transgender Day of Remembrance. That is happening. And the collective, Wilton Collective, is, I don't know why, You know why? Because I still think of it as Acapulco Lindo. But it's the Wilton Collective, that's where you want to be. And then, of course, we're here tonight because this is the 6th anniversary of Arianna Center. So thank you again for all you do, all you've done, all you will do, and may Elohim bless your work continuously. Amen.
Very nice. We thank Sunshine Cathedral for being the host for this incredible 6th anniversary celebration. We also have another guest that wants to kick off that we've asked. We began broadcasting. It's happening out 3 years ago. In the late spring, we merged with Hotspots Magazine, and the two organizations are now one. And combined with WeMeg, we put on Stonewall Pride and other events in our community. Hotspots Magazine is celebrating its 36th anniversary. It's one of the oldest LGBTQ publications in the nation. And 3 years ago, we started the digital television program, It's Happening Out. It was very popular right out of the gate, and it broadcast, in case you didn't know, from Drink Bar on Wilton Drive. And people were fascinated that we were broadcasting a talk show in a bar on Wilton Drive. And as we did this 3 years ago, we started to create a moniker that has stuck. We told the nation that we were broadcasting from Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the gayest place on planet Earth. And it has stuck. And we travel all over the country. I talked to somebody at New York Pride that has talked to us about broadcasting the New York Pride Parade in June, and they said, you broadcast from the gayest place on planet Earth. So how appropriate tonight, Arianna, that we invite somebody that represents the gayest place on planet Earth. So to congratulate Arianna and Arianna Center, we introduce and ask up Vice Mayor of Wilton Manors, Paul Rowley.
Thank you. On behalf of Wilton Manors, I want to welcome everyone here today. It's nice to see everyone come out and support this community. Thank you, Arianna and Tony, for inviting me to speak. I don't know if you know, but Arianna's office is trying to move into Wilton Manors. They work there now, but they will hopefully be there full-time in just a few days or weeks. Wilton Manors, as you know, is part of a very inclusive community, and we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome and safe. Thank you.
Well, something that we talk about at Queer News Tonight frequently is 2022 likely is going to be one of the most important years ever for the trans community. And the reason is, you might be surprised, we have this little thing called the midterm elections coming. And the number one target of conservatives is not the cis gay white guys anymore. It's the trans community. And so we're very proud at Queer News Tonight and Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine to be associated with the 6th anniversary and to celebrate this very important week, because the trans community is so vitally important to our icon. It is LGBTQ, but the T needs to stand out. And this program tonight hopefully will help begin to elevate that. To do that, we're going to talk about a lot of different things in our community to celebrate this anniversary. So we have a lot of dignitaries sitting here. Some of them, all of them, you know. Let's meet our anniversary participants. Well, first, let's welcome founder, president, and oh, by the way, the namesake of Arianna Center, and that is Arianna Lint. She is a well-known international Latinx, I love that Latinx, that's so sexy, Latinx trans activist openly living with HIV. Arianna Center is, of course, a nonprofit focusing on the services of trans women of color, trans men, and gender non-conforming people in Florida. They expanded into Puerto Rico, and now they're expanding across the South. Arianna also is one of the foremost advocates across this country focusing on ending the HIV epidemic. Congratulations, Arianna. Arianna, anything you want to say tonight?
Yes, sure. I want to say thank you so much to everybody. For me, it's very emotional because I'm starting Arianna Center from the scratch. And now we have a good organization who people trust, and the most special thing is the most best result for any transgender and non-conforming people in the south of United States and Puerto Rico. And that is, I'm so proud because I can show to my transgender sisters, you can do it, and this is possible. You can have a better quality of life, and you can be a career no matter what.
Next up is the outgoing Chief Executive Officer of Arianna Center here tonight, Tony Lima. Tony is celebrating Arianna Center in his new role as CEO of SunServe.
Yeah!
Tony is a longtime South Florida LGBTQ+ activist and political advocate. Of course, you know him as the former executive director of SAVE. Of course, Tony is also very well known as the anchor of the world's first trans talk show, with trans hosts talking about the trans experience. And I must point out, last week I did a 4-part interview with Dr. Admiral Rachel Levine, and she had watched Translation. Congratulations, Tony. Congratulations, Tony Lima.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so happy to see so many of you here, given what you had to drive through to get to this event.
Wait, there's some weather going on?
Yeah, there's a monsoon or the reckoning or something is happening outside. So I just love seeing all of these friendly, beautiful faces that are here to support Arianna and the wonderful work that we do. I can't continue to say we, but I feel it in my heart because Arianna Center is such an important part of my life. Arianna's my sister and my family, and we've built something pretty amazing together. And I'm happy that we can celebrate that here with all of you today. So thank you for being here with us.
Well, next is somebody that I call a friend, a new friend. This is one of America's most famous LGBTQ reality stars. I saw her first on Botched. That was the first time I ever saw her. And of course, she's a trans activist, and you know her, of course, as Raji Narayan Singh.
I'm so shy.
Raji has been associated with more than 50 reality and national and international news show appearances, and has become a respected activist voice for the trans community. She is also active as a voice for Trans Social, the force behind this week's Trans Pride in South Florida. And of course, the news is very big about Trans Pride. I attended the ceremony on Monday where the new Sebastian Street and Gay 1A installation went in for the street-long Pride celebration of the street on Sebastian. A lot of people do not realize it's a vinyl piece that is temporary because they didn't have enough time to paint it completely, but it is, when Pride is over, going to be pulled up and they are going to completely paint the street, Sebastian Street, in the Pride colors, and the progressive colors of pink, white, and blue will be leading to that. So congratulations, Raji Narayan Singh.
Thank you so much, everyone. Love, peace, and blessings. And, you know, I'm a transgender woman of a certain age. I'm not going to tell you all how old I am, but I've been around the block, okay? And there's days when I wake up and I can't believe that I lived to see these better days. I really can't. We have a long way to go, but there's so many wonderful things that are happening for our community, and I'm so happy that I'm alive and here to witness them. I met Arianna when she first came to South Florida. And the thing that struck my soul with Arianna is that from the minute she met me, she treated me with such respect and love. This was before all the TV shows and all the notoriety, and it was me just being an activist in the community, and oftentimes I was like, you know, looked at as like a sideshow circus freak. And Arianna always saw me as a fellow trans sister, and she treated me with such respect. And I'm in awe of her because she came to this country as an immigrant. She is HIV positive and she's open about it. And 6 years ago, she decided to take control of her life and start this wonderful organization, Arianna Center. And I'm just in awe of you, my sister, and I just wish you so many blessings going forward. Thank you all for having me here.
And finally, the trans community benefits from political community allies, especially those that represent the LGBTQ+ community. Wilton Manors City Commissioner Chris Caputo is one of those people. As one of the strongest voices in our South Florida community in support of the trans community, Chris is unique in his honest and disarming approach for LGBTQ and broad community support for the trans experience. He has top roles in the Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, the Wilton Manors Business Association, and he owns his own business. His leadership in Wilton Manors and Broward County makes him one of our top LGBTQ+ political advocates, and why he wished to support this important 6th anniversary event and this important organization's anniversary, and to tell you his unique perspective. Congratulations, Chris Caputo.
Thank you so much. It is so great to be here, and congratulations, Arianna. You know, I actually had, a whole speech planned out, but I've actually been sitting up here sort of in awe. I was the past board chair of the Pride Center, so I love that organization. But for me, what gives me a new glimmer of hope that actually makes it feel like we're making some progress is to be here in this place that is this beautiful, by these beautiful people, in an organization that is trans-founded. I think we need to have, support needs to go to organizations that are led by people of a trans experience, and we're starting to see those organizations rise up and really achieve great things. And so I'm humbled to be a part of this, and I'm so excited to see what's yet to come.
Well, these are the voices that are going to talk about this 6th anniversary, and we're here to celebrate our amazing trans community and this incredible organization's anniversary. A very unique thing happened this year, and it's part of this 6th anniversary celebration, and that was national media attention that has taken place for Arianna Center. And one of the most startling, jealous as all hell, by the way, was Telemundo's notice of Arianna's Center and the work that is being done there. We want to show you a little sample of what Telemundo did. Watch this.
A ver, yo me imagino, tengo esta esperanza que dentro de 50 años un niño o una niña abra un periódico y diga, a ver, ¿qué pasaba en el 2021? Quiero ver qué noticias se publicaban en el 2021. Entonces abre el periódico y ve que estamos discutiendo si la comunidad LGBTQ+ tiene los mismos derechos que los heterosexuales. Ojalá y no tardemos tanto para llegar a ese piso parejo, ¿no?
Claro que sí, eso es lo que queremos. Es un sueño muy grande, pero por eso Arianna y yo hacemos el trabajo que hacemos todos los días en nuestra abogacía, en todo lo que hacemos para educar a nuestra comunidad.
Somos las más vulneradas y no tenemos los mismos accesos. Tú puedes ver negocios de gays, los negocios de lesbianas, sin embargo, la comunidad transgénero no nos dan la oportunidad de empleo. Por eso que yo tuve que abrir una agencia y una fundación para poder brindar servicio a las comunidades más vulneradas y de ahí poder ser una profesional de categoría.
Qué admirable, a ver.
Again say, I'm jealous as all hell. All hell. Well, it has led to many great things, and the reason why that kind of branding and embracement is important is representation matters. Representation matters. And that's what you got from Telemundo. Arianna Center has been doing this in so many varieties of ways, like what we're doing tonight in this anniversary celebration. Thousands upon thousands that you couldn't touch in any other way are going to watch in Facebook, in Twitch, in Twitter, in YouTube, in Instagram, and they're going to be able to see this in so many different ways and have the trans community represented in exactly the way you should be respected and represented. And that's why we're very proud to be associated with tonight. Arianna Center is branding themselves in many different ways, and we also want to show you a sample of that. Watch this.
For us, by us.
Arianna Center is the only direct service and advocacy organization based in South Florida, led by a trans Latina openly living with HIV, with a mission to uplift and support transgender women of color in Florida, Puerto Rico, and beyond. We provide free mobile HIV testing and match clients to care and prevention, case management to help with name changes, referrals for legal support, and provide overall linkage to medical and mental health care. We also provide emergency-safe housing for trans women in distress and those released from incarceration and ICE detention. We provide scholarships for GED and technical school, as well as coaching to help trans women enter the workforce. On the advocacy front, we train trans women of color and LGBTQ people to become activists and help educate elected leaders at all levels of government on issues and policies that are vital to the lives of people of trans experience.
Arianna Center, empoderando a nuestra comunidad transgénero.
You know, in addition to being a powerful message from Arianna Center, whoever you got there to do that vocal talent, I think they might have a future in Well, let's begin with Arianna Lent, and let's start with her. After all, it's the namesake of Arianna Center, and especially for our digital television audience that might not be familiar with Arianna, I have helped with Tony translation, and Arianna is a star on translation when she's on because she tells us stories of her life experience, and her stories are genuinely racy and spicy. And always entertaining. So let's start with you. First off, you're from Peru.
Yes.
What was like? Yes. What was like in Peru like for you?
Well, also I am a former lawyer in Peru. I finished my career, but I don't see future in my country as a transgender woman. So I decided to immigrate to United States and be the girl, the woman who I am right now. But also, in my personal life, I don't want to just enough to be a woman. So I think women have to be empowered women, win careers, give example to everybody. I don't want to be a role model. I want to be real model because I am real. That's why I'm open, living with HIV, and my status is open because 49% of the transgender women of color, they are affected by HIV. And the stigma, the HIV in the transgender community is so strong. And that's why it's something where I don't like to say every day, but I think so that is my mission in my life. To empower transgender women who they are living, affected, or living with HIV or affected by HIV, get better quality of life, have a hope. In these 6 years, I am the outcomes and successful because I selling dreams to the girls. And I'm so proud, so dreams come true for many of my sisters, like me. So that's why I'm so happy, and that is my life. I'm so happy to be in one city of Wilton Manor, who I can live myself, my true self. I can develop my talents, prove, and give back to this country, who they hosting me for 20 years, and give to my sisters.
Beautifully said. Arianna, you say something in that brings me to a stop. I represent the G in our acronym, white, sometimes privileged G. If I said in my demographic at LGBT that 1 in every 2 had HIV, the oxygen in the room would pour out of the room. You just said half of all trans women of color are HIV positive. How do you deal, how does your community, how does the trans community deal with a statistic like that every day?
I think I go around to the troubles, because sometimes transgender people don't thrive in the G or in the L, right? And I try to find these allies from the G and the L to lift up the transgender community and helping me up. And Arianna Center 3 years ago don't have, was give services to a transgender, but they don't have the support, financial support or something enough, like after Tony and Alex coming aboard, and go to the founders and us, and the founder trusts more the capacity of the gay people and not the transgender. So I go around and I use the allies. That's why I'm very, always, I am defend the allies in the transgender community. And I tell to my sister, we have to save and respect our allies, because we have not too much allies in the transgender community for transgender. And if we give hard time to them, they don't give us helping us. So it's very important to keeping, building, and spoiling the G, the L, the V ally. That's why I'm so happy to have a relation friend relation with Chris Caputo, because in the political, in the city, have to be the example of the LGBT in United States. That is true, because they are trying to lead the transgender community. I want to say publicly, thank you so much, because as soon as he get the position, he tried to help us, the whole transgender and the most vulnerable transgender community. So that's why it's so important.
Chris Caputo, by the way. You know, to illustrate the value of this conversation and the importance of taking this 6th anniversary to a different place, several weeks ago I interviewed Tori Cooper, who is the HRC's leading trans representative, and she is the first trans woman of color ever to be appointed at the White House working on HIV health. And in my live interview with her, I asked her the exact same question that you have just answered without being asked the question. I asked Tori Cooper, with all of the magnificent success that we have seen this year for our LGBTQ community, from the president, vice president, and everything that we have seen, it must be difficult on what you watch is happening in the trans community, and state laws and violence and other related issues. And I said, is the L and the G and the B supporting the T community in the way that you think it should in standing up for you? And without a pause, Tori Cooper said, never. Never. It was a breathtaking moment for me, because you've just repeated it. Our challenge coming out of this 6th anniversary of Arianna Center is that our entire community must stand up for our trans community. And if we don't, we can't possibly take on the enemies that exist outside of our community. So very well said for you. I want to ask you something that I always joke about. Was it difficult in coming from Peru with your English?
Well, you know what? I think I am, people
Oh,
think.
and by the way, Tony, will you translate as we
Well, I think I am over people they don't speak Spanish because I am bilingual and I make sure people in English they understand my message, whatever. And the problem is maybe when I'm speaking Spanish they
Wait,
don't
did I just
understand.
get read?
That was a read. That was a read for sure.
But you
That
know
was a
what? Language for trans Latinx people is very difficult and it's a barrier, and it's one of the barriers to access to different health, to different, because people they think people they have an accent or they are don't talking enough English is less. But we are in the world where language is no barriers. You have to prove your talents, and for you prove and work, you don't need a language. So
Beautifully said. Arianna, last question at this moment before we move on. 6 years of you doing this. What is your single proudest moment? Can you remember a single moment where you go, that's it?
the proudest.
Your proudest moment at Arianna Center and your advocacy.
Well, at this moment, I don't going to answer personally the question. I want to let two of my team answer the question. So please, Frida and Kayla, come aboard and tell what I am so proud about it.
Hello everyone, I'm Keila Marino. When I met Arianna, it was 2014, and I was actually homeless living on the streets. And my name at that time was Matthew Marino. And with her resources and with her help, I ended up getting off the streets. I ended up becoming drug free. I ended up changing my name to Keila Marino, and I got my associates in business and administration.
Buenas noches, lo voy a hablar en español porque ya hablo inglés. Parte de mi colaboración con Arianna Center es Advocate por Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking, en la cual ahora soy coordinadora voluntaria de HIV Testing. Es la primer transexual a nivel Miami-Dade County que la policía de Coral Gables otorga un award por violencia doméstica a la comunidad LGBTQ.
So not just my own history, and I break the own barriers for myself, but I try to give a hope to my sisters.
Very nice. America, Arianna Lint. Well, now let's talk about Tony Lima and his story. You are a cis Latino man.
Latinx, remember.
Latinx.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Forgive the white guy. Working in the trans world. I knew of you from your advocacy in the politics of LGBTQ. How did this happen? How did you move into this highly specialized and vitally important field?
You know, part of it was, thank you for that great question, Al. Can we give a round of applause to the cisgender white guy sitting in the middle, helping us moderate this panel? Very white guy, very, very white guy. Part of it is serendipitous. You know, in 2012, I was hired to be the executive director of the longest serving LGBT rights organization in the state called SAVE, that many of you know and have known me since that time. And one of the first tasks at hand that I needed to take care of with my organization was to expand the existing human rights ordinance that SAVE had passed in 1998 to include the transgender community. And something incredible happened on my first day on the job. I met a beautiful woman by the name of Araya Lester, that many of you know in this room, right? And Araya was one of the first trans people that I got to know as a friend, as an activist, as someone that was working against the grain in order to fight for basic human rights. And Araya was my initial training ground in working with the trans community. She educated me. We had lots of long conversations. And Araya actually was the founding assistant to Arianna at this organization. She was our first deputy director to help Arianna forge on with the work. So I got to help pass almost immediate policy in helping to protect the trans community in Miami-Dade County specifically. And I meet this angel, Araya Lester, which opened my eyes because, like Al says, you know, I was very much a privileged white, although I'm Latino as all heck. I was gonna say hell, but I don't think you can say that in a church, right? Or can you?
Oh, this is sunshine. You can say that.
And I never considered myself as part of the problem. I thought, you know what, as a Latino person, as a Latinx person, I'm a person of color. You know, I don't live this same privileged existence. And boy, was I wrong. I lived every shred of privilege possible as a cisgender gay man. So to learn of the issues of Araya Lester, the issues were incredible to me. Shortly after that, someone by the name of Arianna Lint moved from Orlando to Broward County and started working at SunServe, the organization that I am now the executive director of. And then executive director Mark Ketchum, who's a dear friend, he introduced me to Arianna. And he's like, I can't speak all this Spanish, so you're gonna have to talk to her, right? He introduced me to her. I automatically fell in love with Arianna and her passion, and we quickly became really, really, really good friends. During that time at SAVE, we used to hold a yearly gathering for the community where we used to give a series of awards. And I was very fortunate to be able to award Arianna with the Champion of Equality Award in 2015, which coincided with the birth of Arianna Center. And since we had become good friends and she was getting this award, she came to me and said, I don't have a lot of support from the general community as a whole, meaning the LGBTQ, right? And I said, well, you have my full support. What can I help you do? And from that moment, Arianna came to work from our offices at SAVE. We had an Arianna Center office almost automatically. I helped fund the work that she started to do. Initially, it was very little. It was something like $600 a month or something like that to get her started. And that was the seed of this beautiful organization that helped more than 500 people a year. Now, Arianna Center is actively helping with name changes, immigration support, basic social support overall, HIV testing, so much that we do for the community, over 500 people a year now. So initially, that's how the foray happened. That's how we became a team, how we started to become family, and the rest is history. I had the opportunity in 2019, after I left SAVE, I took a job with a lobbying firm in Tallahassee, and something magical happened. Arianna called me one day and said, I've just been awarded $100,000 from the Elton John Foundation. Yay, Elton John. Do you want to come work with me? And I said, yes. I didn't even think about it. I was like, yes, when do we start? You know, and shortly after that, and I have to recognize him, he hates this kind of stuff, but he's sitting behind Frida. But Alex Spriggs, will you please stand up? Can we give Alex Spriggs a big round of applause? Alex, who is my former chief of staff at SAVE and a very dear friend of mine, and I joined Arianna officially in 2019, and the rest is history. The work that we've been doing over the last 2 years and then some has been magical. It's incredibly rewarding and palpable work. We see the fruit of our labor, of our tireless labor on a daily basis in success stories like these ladies that just spoke, like a lot of the ladies that are sitting in the front row. We have been really uplifting the lives of trans women of color mostly for 6 years now, and that turns into so many beautiful stories of success, of resilience, of just supporting each other as human beings, which is the most important thing we can do.
Tony, I want to cut in on that point.
I was talking too much, apparently.
Yes. No, you weren't. And to the point of what you were saying, you have the opportunity in this anniversary celebration to talk about allyship. Why is it important for people like you to advocate for Arianna Center and for the trans community? Why is it important?
Arianna said something key earlier. Before Alex and I came on board and we started to connect with the greater community, mostly to fundraise initially to be able to provide the support that we give the community, people wouldn't take Arianna seriously. There's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of discrimination from our own LGBTQ against the trans community. So having an ally be that bridge, as she termed a little while ago, was exactly what needed to happen to make this organization successful. And the important thing about being an ally is really to sort of give the opportunity, serve as a bridge, make sure that there's always a trans person at the table, but then to get out of the way, right? The important thing is to get out of the way and help uplift these voices and these narratives and these stories, because we're talking about human beings that are like each and every one of us. I don't understand what the barriers are when it comes to the trans community, specifically when it comes to cisgender gay men. Cisgender gay men will gladly tip a drag queen at a bar that is often a trans woman, but won't bother to get close to that same trans woman to understand her story and to see if she needs any kind of support. You know, there's almost like, oh no, you're a trans person, let me step away. But if you're an entertainer, we love you and we're going to give you lots of dollars, right? So there's an interesting juxtaposition there. You know, we're not seeing the humanity of trans people.
Speaking of the entertainment aspect, you may or may not know that I was associated with RuPaul's Drag Race for years. And when I came down here to do and launch It's Happening Out, I met Tony Lima, and Tony thinks he knows more about RuPaul's Drag Race than me, which is quite shocking. So in a way, let's play a little Untucked. And let's assume that this is an episode of Arianna Center's Untucked, and now you get that moment. Tell us the absolutely nitty-gritty of Arianna Lint. Go.
Wow, that's really hard. Arianna Lint, the nitty-gritty of Arianna Lint. Arianna is a warrior. Arianna is someone that will not take no for an answer. Arianna is someone who has the tenacity and the ferociousness of the strongest of human beings. Sometimes I think she's a superhero, to be quite honest, because this lady doesn't stop, right? She just continues to work, she continues to move, she continues to build. So when we moved into Puerto Rico, and we have some of our Puerto Rican staff here, Kimberly, stand up and say hello. Kimberly Vasquez Arcilares from our Puerto Rico team. When we got into Puerto Rico wasn't enough, and we have 3 offices now in Puerto Rico. Arianna then wanted to take on the Deep South simultaneously, which as Americans, we know that the Deep South is one of the most difficult places to penetrate with this kind of messaging, right? But that's what Arianna Center is doing right now, going throughout the Deep South and building the next layer of Arianna Lints, other young leaders that are coming up and are starting their own movements in the areas that need the work most. So I think that says everything about Arianna. You know, not to mention that I adore her. Alex used to kind of think that we were the same person a little bit because he didn't understand what we were talking about half the time.
I can assure Alex that is not true, because Arianna has far more fabulous clothes than you do.
Oh, she's much prettier. That's true. That's true.
Prettier too. Tony, you're transitioning to SunServe. In 30 seconds, tell us what your single favorite moment has been at Arianna Center. 30 seconds. Go.
You have to time me. The most important 30 seconds was when in January of 2020, we took 20 trans women of color to Tallahassee to meet their legislators. A lot of those ladies are in here today. And we had the opportunity to put a face to a movement. Because in Tallahassee, when you're working on policy, people don't always make the connection that you're working on policy on behalf of human beings. So to be able to put a face to what the trans movement looks like was incredibly important, and that's probably my favorite moment. Can I have a second favorite moment?
Yes.
When we did we didn't show the commercial, but Arianna and I did a spectacular Telemundo commercial called Orgullo Imparable, where they featured our interesting trans cisgender partnership and really highlighted the work that we do. That was my second favorite moment.
Wonderful. Well, I know everyone wishes you all the luck in the world
Thank
in your
you.
new executive directorship at SunServe, and thank you for what you've done so far. Well, now for the anniversary, we want to talk about advocacy, and of course, that comes from trans activists, and that means Raji Narayan Singh. We've talked about your reality shows. You have struck me repeatedly. You've talked about it extensively, so you give me permission to repeat it because you've talked about it extensively. But often through your life and your advocacy, you've been the butt of a joke. And using that joke, you've picked it up and dusted yourself off and said, but I'm here. And I represent. And I just begin by introducing you to say, wow, does that wash over on me?
Thank you, Al. Thank you.
It absolutely
I feel
does.
That. I feel
It's
that.
true. Tell us about the history of your activism. Why get into it? You didn't start that way. You evolved into it. Why did that happen?
So I would say that from the beginning, I felt like I've been in a gender war. From the age of 4, they were calling me faggot and sissy. I didn't even know what the words meant. I just didn't like the way they made me feel, the energy behind them. And I could see my little 4-year-old self looking up at my neighbor, Mr. Pembleton. He was the fireman. All the kids loved to hang around his porch. And I looked up at him one day and I said, Mr. Pembleton, what does faggot mean? And he looked down at me and he's like, why on earth are you, and now I'm 4 years old. And he's like, why on earth are you asking me this? And I said, well, that's what all the kids are calling me. And he never answered that question. But based on his reaction, he's like, well, you don't pay attention to what those kids are saying. I knew that whatever faggot meant couldn't be a good thing. And that was the beginning of me feeling ostracized, like the outsider, different from the crowd, the rest of the crowd. And it then went into school. I went into school and, you know, the bullying became relentless. There was not only verbal, you know, they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But that's not true. Names do hurt. Words hurt. And I was also beaten up. I mean, I remember being pulled off of a city bus in Philadelphia at rush hour in front of probably 50 people by 6 guys who beat me up in front of, and no one helped me. And so then, you know, this is before I'm even out as trans. You know, I always say transgender starts inside and the essence is there, so a lot of people see it before you even transition. So anyway, I transitioned, and I would say the thing that was my catalyst, or the thing that catapulted me to my hardcore activism, was in 2000, I was brutally beaten up by some guys who targeted me for being trans. And I mean, they beat me up really bad. And I was scared to call the police because I felt like I would be re-victimized. You know, the attitude was, well, if you weren't that way, maybe you wouldn't have been beaten up. And so I laid in my bed crying uncontrollably and almost blaming myself and pleading with God, like, why do I have to be this way? Why do I have to be this way? Like, you know, blaming myself for being beaten up, but bleeding, bloody lip. My lip was completely split. I could pull it apart. 2 black eyes, swollen face, and I'm in my bed crying. And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, if I had died tonight, would I have died knowing that I tried to do something for me and my transgender people? You can sit down all day and complain about something, or you can stand up and try and do something about it. And that was the moment that my activism became very, very, I would say strong, like the strongest that it had ever been. And from that point on, I have been doing my advocacy in the community in so many different capacities. So I feel blessed that I'm here to be able to do it. There, you know, this is Transgender T-Doors coming up on Saturday, Transgender Day of Remembrance. And there are many girls and guys, transgender people that didn't live. You know, we stand on their shoulders now, but they, you know, they didn't make it. And so just because of them living their authentic truth. So we're here. I might not live to see, I might not live to see true equality and equity for our people. But when I'm on my deathbed, Al, I want to know that I sure as hell tried my best to make a difference. And isn't it about making it better for the next generation?
Absolutely. Raja, I want to ask in relation to Arianna Center, but I do want to make an observation to you, and I know there are literally hundreds of people around you that would make the exact same observation that I made. I feel like I want to hug you. I feel like I just want you to know you don't have to wait until your deathbed. You don't have to do that because you've already done that. I've been here in South Florida for 3 years and traveled all over the world, 147 countries, as you know. You are one of the most positive people I have ever met in my life. And every single day, you're advocating. You don't have to wait to the end to embrace that. I want to ask you about what you hope from an organization like Arianna Center. As an activist, as a trans woman of color, what is it you hope for an organization like Arianna Center?
Well, you know, finally, we trans people have a seat at the table. You know,
that deserves a round of applause.
There was a time that we couldn't even get in the doors. And we have a seat at the table now, and it's organizations like Arianna Center that has helped us to get here. What I would like to see is that going forward, what do we do now? Like, we need to really unite as a community because we have the seat, but now where do we go? Where do we take it? You know, and I'll say this, sometimes you have to shake things up and do things differently to create great change. You really do. And I see these young trans girls coming out and I smile, and you know, a lot of them, you know, it's been easier for them than it was for myself. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm happy. I rejoice in that because my blood, sweat, and tears wasn't in vain. And they're a testament to me, for, you know, to affirm that for me. And so I want to see organizations like Arianna Center grow and continue the work. You know, it's important for us to, you know, one day reach our true equality and equity. If it's not in my lifetime, I pray that it's in some transgender people's lifetime.
Well said. Well, the final area that we want to focus on is political leadership. And Commissioner Chris Caputo is here tonight from Wilton Manors. Commissioner. Chris, I recently, just last week, did an interview with you, and I heard repeatedly from multiple people in preparing for the interview with you that one of the major areas of advocacy that you supported was the trans community. And I thought that that was interesting because cis, white, gay guy in Wilton Manors, and sometimes we might not be as diverse in our own LGBTQ community as we would like. So that makes you an aberration almost. And your political advocacy, what is it about the trans community that motivates you to stand up for the community the way you do?
You know, I almost struggle to hear that question because we are one community. I was raised, we were LGBTQ, and it's such a double-edged sword to hear Arianna talk about the need for allyship, and so much of this conversation has been about allyship, but it's my hope that it just is. It doesn't need to be something that the trans community should have to work for. It should be, by its nature, what is. You know, when I, 10 years ago, when I tested positive for HIV, it was the gay community, the LGBT community at that time was really addressing things like stigma, and they sort of created this safe space for me to be okay being an HIV positive person. You know, and gay marriage happened, and all of these things happened, and I'm sometimes besides myself that we've just, we're not there in the same way we as a community need to be there. But I'm grateful to be in a place where I can now have conversations with Arianna, with Tatiana, with some of the other leaders of the community to understand how is it that we can finally all be together as one community with the same rights, with the same respect, with the same things we all deserve.
Chris, you're a city commissioner advocating for the trans community in what we joke, in a tongue-in-cheek way, is the gayest place on planet Earth, and that embraces the entire community. We're taking a shortcut. Wilton Manors in Fort Lauderdale, generally, while we definitely have not arrived, is farther than most of the country. Let's go to Biloxi, Mississippi tonight. There is some 16-year-old kid that is trans that's going to go to bed tonight and be Raji. What is your observation, or what is it that needs to be done to be able to have the political representation like you from the trans community that are running for office, that are running for school boards, that are running for city commission, that are running for Congress, that are running to be confirmed by the Senate of the United States to be the Assistant Secretary of Health? Where and what do you advocate, or what do you think? How do we get there?
So I want to start by saying the idea that someone's going to bed and is going to become Raji one day, it brings a smile to my face, right? Because we need a million times more of that. So I think that's really like, the world would be a better place, right? I think it is the responsibility, I take it as my responsibility to find ways to replace me with people of a trans experience, or people of color, or Latinx. It is the responsibility I have been given is to get here and then to use the opportunity I've been given to make way for people who can do better than me, because they've been through more than me, and they can achieve more than what I can achieve, because they're frankly stronger-willed people than me. And so for me, I think that's really what I think is our responsibility, and is our joy, is to be able to create that space where the next generation of leaders, where we sort of mentor them, if I can use that word, because I find they often mentor me more, but if we can mentor them into a position of politics or of community, that's important.
Chris, I'm curious, 6th anniversary of Arianna Center. It's not only for Arianna Lynch and the people and the programming of services that Arianna Center does, but for other organizations like it. Why, from your seat, your political eye seat, as a commissioner in Wilton Manors, but you could be a commissioner at Miami Beach, or you could be a commissioner in Pensacola, Florida. Why are organizations like the Arianna Center important for our community?
I mean, as I was saying earlier, it's great that there's finally people of a trans experience running organizations like this. They're important because this is here. These are our people, right? And they're not represented in the way that we spend our money, or the way that we invest in our community. Unfortunately, we invest in other marginalized communities at a much greater rate and pace, and I'm not here to compare one marginalized community to another, but I believe all people are equal, and true equity means we've got to raise this community up. And so it is important that Arianna Center or any organization like Arianna Center is really, it's given the credit that it's deserved. It's given the investment from our community that it deserves so that it can really flourish. You know, our strength is in our diversity. And organizations like Arianna Center promote that diversity, and that's really important.
I completely agree with you. Well, one final conversation topic. In our celebration of this 6th anniversary of Arianna Center, let's take a moment to celebrate the moment that we're in right now. We've got a year ahead of us. And again, I voice the next year of 2022 is a tough one, is a comin'. It is a comin'. It's not going to go away, and putting our head in the sand will not change what we're going to see next year. So in that vein, for all of you, and I ask all of you, where are we in the trans community movement right now? Where is the trans community? And most important of all, what's next from your seats of what we're going to see next? Where are we and what's next?
So where we are is at a moment where we need to continue doing the work that we do focused on the trans community as far as advocating and educating to help change hearts and minds. There's still a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of discrimination, a lot of prejudice focused on our trans family. And in anticipation of this incredible midterm election, where we're already seeing that the trans community is being used as a wedge to create fear, to have people be afraid of other human beings in order to win conservative votes, we all have the responsibility to speak with each other, to speak with our neighbors, to speak with our families, to help enlighten people on the fact that trans people are here. They are our family members. They need to be protected. We need to be able to uplift their stories, their narratives, and their existence as a whole. So for me, it's education, it's advocacy, it's continuing to have forums like this that are nationally televised so that we can continue to educate people.
Other thoughts about where we're at? What do we need to do next? Are you finished in your advocacy? Are you all done?
Anyone want to grab the torch? No, I have it in my soul to just continue to do it. I think, Al, this is a life's work for me, and so in some capacity I probably will always advocate and do my activism. I mean, you know, for a lot of trans people, just going out in public is a statement of activism. If you see me, Miss Raji, at the supermarket, that's a statement of activism because I'm saying I'm trans.
To audience at home, either watching live or streaming, allow that to digest for a moment, what you just heard, because that is really a bullseye.
Yeah.
Advocacy is going to Publix.
It is. You know, because oftentimes when I'm out and about, you know, I see a lot of people, I run into a lot of people who recognize me, but I also see people that, you know, they're looking and I can tell, like, what they're thinking, wow, that's a trans woman. And, you know, whatever they may be thinking, the fact is I'm living loud and proud. I'm not hiding. And, yeah, and I don't want to be tolerated. See, think about the word tolerated. When in the English language, when we use that word, oh, you're thinking, oh my God, you know, I have this back pain, but I'm tolerating it. You know, the medicine is making me tolerate it. No. We trans people don't want to be tolerated. We want to be respected as fellow human beings. You know, I mean, and I think the key to that, okay, we need our laws, we need our policies to be in place, because the reason why law is so important is when you have consequences to actions, it makes people think twice about maybe committing a hate crime. So the laws are very important, but in my advocacy through the years, I've spoken at so many different events and, you know, forums and been on so many different platforms. And you know, you walk in the room and the walls are up. And I'm talking about like heterosexual audiences, all types of audiences. But what I find is as I share my story, there's a human connection that takes place And literally, before my eyes, I will see the walls come down. Maybe not everyone, but a good percentage.
You know, it's an interesting issue in terms of the go forward for the trans community, because like the Publix analogy that you just did, from my ear, what I just heard is you have to do exactly the reverse of what your nature would be, which is to hide. What you just said is the actual positive change is to represent and tell your story. And to represent and tell your story, you've got to get out.
Yes, and see, that's the thing, Al. For many years, I did kind of hide. You know, a lot of you probably know the story of my black market injections and how I lived with a very disfigured face for many years. I lived my life, I was an activist, I maneuvered, but it was like I felt oftentimes that I had to hide. I would pull up to a supermarket and sit in my car, almost paralyzed because I was fearful of how people were going to react to me when I went in. I would sit there sometimes for a half an hour trying to get the courage to just go into the supermarket. And so I don't live in that place anymore. And I'm so thankful.
There you are.
And I just want to finish with this. I think the key for us trans people is my prayer is that we one day will really get at the hearts of the, people that aren't trans, get at their hearts and, have them see us as human beings. Because, really when it's all said and done, beyond all the layers, and believe me, y'all, I have a lot of layers right now. I mean, I got a lot of layers, okay? A lot. But beyond all the layers, I'm a divine spirit of the universe living the human experience like all of us. And each and every one of us has a divine purpose here. And you know what, Al? I'm so happy that I can say that today. I can say it with conviction. I know, and there was a time when I maybe felt like I didn't belong here on the planet. I didn't have a purpose, but there was that mustard seed inside of me, that mustard seed of faith and hope, and I was like, no. I was born into life for a reason. We all are born into life for a divine reason.
Yeah.
I know I can run my mouth out.
Well, no, I'm at the end of the anniversary event tonight. I'm going to talk to Darrell because I think that they need another pastor here at Sunshine Cathedral. We're going to get to some final points at the end of the program, but we're getting ready to come to our conclusion. But I do want to say, Arianna Center would like to thank so many of the sponsors that have helped make the mission over the last 6 years, definitely in this last year. This little tiny thing happened in year 5 of Arianna Center and in year 6 of Arianna Center. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it was called the COVID-19 pandemic. And this tiny little pandemic came along, and Arianna Center and the trans community thrived in the midst of it. Congratulations, Arianna Lent. And that is done by sponsors that help make this mission possible. Yes.
I'm sorry I called you, but this is a good moment to share good news. And I'm very proud. We are winning $200,000 from Gilead, from Transcend program. For the next 2 years, they're going to helping us to continue working for the next 2 years in Arianna Center. So that is one of the wonderful sponsors what we have, and I want to lift up that comment
that
because
is
it's
awesome.
a great news.
Thank you, Gilead, for making that possible.
Anoche was the one. Tatiana Williams from Trans-Inclusive was a tour. So the next generation of transgender is a leadership in the South Florida.
Well, Well, that is awesome news. And in addition, and we're going to talk to Gilead in just a couple of moments, Arianna Center would like to specifically thank the following sponsors. And if y'all would like to comment on them, we'd like to thank the Miami Dolphins Football Unites.
Thank you, Jason Jenkins and his team, for supporting Arianna Center in everything that we do. The Miami Dolphins are one of the only football teams in the NFL that are doing active work to support the LGBTQ community, and that deserves a huge round of applause.
That is awesome. Arianna Center would like to thank one of their principal sponsors, Avita Pharmacy.
Yes, Avira helped me from many things, especially sponsor events, community events every year. The Tidor events and every year before the pandemic was covered by Avira. So thank you so much for the support, and also we sent people to Avira Pharmacy.
Very good. And I personally, just from my personal opinion, I love seeing LGBTQ organizations support organizations like Arianna Center, and we thank our sponsorship from the Aqua Foundation for Women in our community.
Yes, I just joined the board of the Aqua Foundation for Women in Miami, and I want to congratulate, because not just put me on the board of the director, but also we are 3 transgender women with different labels in that board of Aqua, and that is one huge impact for the community, because Aqua is the only lesbian no-profit organization who they have in the board 3 transgender women, and usually LGBT agencies don't have any transgender women.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow, that's amazing.
And yes, it is. And from the women, also the men. And we have a great social organization here in Fort Lauderdale that supports, and big support for Arianna Center. And a thank you for sponsorship for and from Flockfest.
Thank you to Stephen Crawford and Ryan Young for supporting us and for helping to purvey the message of the work that we do. So thanks, guys.
This weekend is a little event. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Pride Fort Lauderdale and Trans Pride, and we thank them for sponsorship.
Yes, sure. I want to invite to everybody to the Pride this Saturday and Sunday, and also you can visit us in our tables. We're going to offer $40 online gift card to any transgender and non-binary people who they are doing a questionnaire over there, and also we're going to give out HIV testing so they can take a testing at home, and also we're going to have a float, and we have a lot of people from outside of Florida. They coming to celebrate with us. So that's why I'm so happy, and thank you so much to them.
Excellent. And Saturday, 11 o'clock, if you can't get to the parade, Faye Watt, who is here, say hello, Faye.
Faye Watt!
And Tony and Kitty Meow and I will be broadcasting the parade. And right after the parade, note to self, Arianna, can I get one of those gift cards? I go and fill it.
You are not transgender or no binary people.
Okay. And a sponsorship for Arianna Center from the Waves Ahead Foundation.
Waves Ahead is our fiscal sponsor in Puerto Rico, and they've been an incredible partner in helping us build programs that are specifically working to help trans women in Puerto Rico. As we know, in Puerto Rico, there's a huge problem. There's a feminicide happening where women are being attacked. The governor has declared a state of emergency against women, and trans women are included within that group. So the work that we do in Puerto Rico is incredibly important. So we're thankful to Waves Ahead, and they deserve a huge round of applause.
Very nice. And
Actually, Al, can we invite Kimberly Vasquez to come up just for a second, Kimberly?
of course, and the mic's right here, Kimberly,
Yes.
on this side.
And you can, puedes hablar del programa de Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's a live mic too. Sure.
Oh, there you go.
can
Ahí
use
mismo,
it.
sí,
Ok,
donde quieras.
perfecto. Gracias por la oportunidad. Primero que todo quiero agradecer a Arianna por la oportunidad y por tan excelente iniciativa en Puerto Rico. Estamos trabajando directamente con los adultos mayores, que son unas personas que se olvidan, ¿verdad? Nos olvidamos, y todos nosotros vamos a ser en algún momento adultos mayores. Así que muchísimas gracias también, Arianna, porque estamos trabajando con los hombres trans y estamos ahora esperando hacer un campamento para estos hombres. Así que muchísimas gracias y los esperamos en Puerto Rico.
You know, and it's a reminder to me, I love tonight because I've learned to shut up and just learn Spanish. Okay, I'm going to do that.
There you go.
All right. And Tony, help us with the next sponsor.
Gundalak Bunshu have provided the delicious wine that you're drinking tonight. So big round of applause to them, and Hernan Valverde for giving us that wine. But also I have to go back to Pride Fort Lauderdale because they provided the drinks as a whole for tonight for us. So thanks again to Pride Fort Lauderdale. Remember to come for the parade at 11 a.m. Again, Saturday. Al, myself, and Faye Watt, along with Kitty Meow, will be hosting that parade, so come and join us.
Yes, absolutely. And also a thank you for sponsorship for Arianna Center from the Center for Spiritual Living.
Yes, after we don't have a physical office, we use the Center for Spirit Living for our meetings, and tomorrow we'll have a lunch with the whole Latinx population, transgender population, and we're going to be in the Center for Spirit Living, so thank you so much.
Oh, very nice. Well, the 6th anniversary celebration would also like to thank Arianna's Center's administrator. Now, he was recognized once before, but we want to do it again because this is the thankless representation at Arianna Center, sometimes thankless, but not tonight. Again, one more bow. Alex Spriggs, stand up and take a bow for your work at Arianna Center.
I want to say something about Alex, and I know Arianna does too. Alex isn't just the administrator. Alex is the one running the show behind the scenes in every respect. Alex was the one to manage our calendars, to tell us where we needed to be, what we needed to be doing, the one that reminds us of everything, the one that writes the grants that are bringing in all of this money to Arianna Center. Alex is really the wind beneath our wings, and we love him so much, and he hates this so much. I know you're hating this moment so much, but we love you, Alex, and thank you for everything that you do. Big round of applause for Alex.
And from my seat, I'm a volunteer, a happy volunteer for Arianna Center, and basically I'm Alex's flunky for the 6th anniversary. So, thank you very much, Alex. You were a great boss. And also, again, we want to give a very special thank you to our host, the Sunshine Cathedral. You heard in our kickoff at the top of the anniversary celebration from Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins. Very unique here at the Sunshine Cathedral as the largest queer church in the world. They have the largest religious broadcast online in the world. It goes everywhere. You would be shocked. 30,000 people watch their Sunday broadcast. And what's very unique about Sunshine Cathedral is his husband is also Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, and a mixed race couple, and they lead this organization beautifully. And we, again, please, a big round of applause for Sunshine Cathedral. And one final special thank you, and that is to the partners for Arianna Center and translation, the broadcast show, and the 6th anniversary event. And that, of course, is Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. We're very passionate about representation. It's very, very important. And the best way, it washes over me because I heard all of you say it repeatedly. Even Chris said, lift up and then get out of the way. Tony said, lift up and get out of the way. At Hotspots and Happening Out Television Network, while we do it in a kind of clumsy way, that's exactly what we're trying to do also. Lift up and then get out of the way, and translation is proof of that. Raji and Arianna and Misty Eyes and others are telling trans stories as news reporters and then talking about it. It is the only place in the world that is going on. And I thank Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network for making that possible. So congratulations. Okay, well, Arianna, I am told that we have a very special guest that has sat down here in seat 6, and I'm reading, it's Arianna's mother, Maria Lint.
Well, I'm very proud, and I bring my mom to the stage because 90% of the successful or life of the transgender is the support of the parents. As you know, in the beginning, I don't have not too much support. My mother from Peru loaned, give me money to building Arianna Center in the beginning. Loan and believe in me all the time. She don't understand because she speaks only Spanish. So she bring from Peru and she want to talking in Spanish and give a message and give a words.
Y yo voy a traducir.
Mami, habla.
Muy buenas noches tengan todos ustedes.
Good evening, everyone.
Orgullosa de estar en esta reunión fraternal, se puede decir, porque ustedes son una familia.
I'm very proud to be here with all of you because you are my extended family.
Okay. Entonces,
Me tiene que dar un chancecito.
mi nombre es María Lin, llegadita de Perú.
My name is Maria Lint and I just arrived from Peru.
Exacto. Ahora estoy acá presente para decirles lo orgullosa que estoy de mi hija. Para mí es una princesa.
I am so proud of my daughter. She is my princess.
Porque ella cuando comenzó a trabajar para Arianna Center tuvo muchas dificultades.
When she first started Arianna Center, she had many difficulties.
De lo cual yo sabía lo que ella sufría, las caídas y bajas, pero como ella es una guerrera, luchaba y luchaba y atrás dejaba todas las cosas que a ella se le presentaban, de lo cual ahora es lo que es, y la formó la fundación con sufrimiento y con ayuda de algunas personas que, bueno, de mi familia, que le mandábamos para que ella siga adelante.
Me tiene que dar un chancecito porque eso es bastante.
No, ya entregué los premios ya. Pero tienes que ir conmigo.
She's saying that she's very proud of Arianna because Arianna has suffered through a lot of hard work to get to where she is today, because she is a warrior and she's strong and she has a very strong family behind her helping her achieve her goals.
Yo sé que de aquí en adelante ella va a surgir, porque de lo que era y ahora es, qué privilegiada es por Dios, porque Dios la lleva por un camino verdadero, sincero, y lo que ella más quiere es su Dios y su Padre que está en el cielo.
Gracias, mamá.
She says that what guides her, that she knows that from this moment on, Arianna will only continue to success, because what guides her is God and her father, who's up above. For those of you that don't know, Arianna lost her father this past year, and it's been a very difficult time for the entire family.
En reconocimiento, y para ser breve, porque si no voy a pasar toda la noche hablando.
She says she can speak all night, so she's going to be brief.
Le he traído un recordatorio de parte de sus dos hermanos que no han podido venir. Una porque no le dieron visa y el mayor que está en Orlando que no le han dado permiso. Pero ellos en su mente y en su corazón la tienen a ella presente.
I'm bringing a gift from her brothers and I to recognize the hard work that she does. One of her brothers is in Peru and could not be here tonight because he couldn't get a visa to get here. And her other brother in Orlando was not able to get here either because he couldn't get time off from work.
Ahora por la labor que desempeña con Alex,
Alex, you're up.
también le envían un recordatorio por formar del clan de Arianna Center.
And this is for... And I'm not going to say that. She says that she's very thankful to Alex for all of the support of Arianna and Arianna Center. Perfecto.
¿Me retiro ya o me quedo? dármela.
Bueno, y se olvidó que el mío me lo dieron hace un mes.
Ya el de usted ya está adelantado.
So they gave me a similar award a month ago when I was leaving Arianna Center, and she couldn't be here with us, but she shipped the awards to make sure that it would be in tune with me leaving Arianna Center. Muchas gracias por todo lo que usted ha hecho por nosotros. ¿Quiere decir otra cosa? ¿Otra cosita?
No, ya me despido.
Ya se despide. She is giving her grand goodbye.
Ask her to just be seated.
Dice que te quedes ahí, que se quede así.
You're fine. One thing that I would say from my seat to your mother, there is no one in LGBT with what we go through, LGBTQ. There's virtually nothing that we want more than the unconditional love and embracement of our parents. And I just watch. Well, as our last presentation, we want to tell you that Arianna Center, of course, has very special support from Gilead. You just heard this news of a $200,000 grant that will continue.
It is a historic grant for Arianna Center. It is the single largest grant we've ever received as an organization.
Yes, and absolutely incredible. And tonight, joining us for the 6th anniversary celebration are some of the team members. If you would stand up if you're in the room, and I apologize if I mispronounce names, Micah Osorio, Salima, and Leslie Mina. Thank you very much, and let's recognize Arianna Center's incredible support from Gilead.
Al, can I also say that we have a very special guest from Gilead here. One of their senior corporate folks, Diana Feliz Oliva, who we adore, is also here in the audience. Diana, stand up and be recognized.
Thank you.
Well, we want to remind you, before you're going to hear some special remarks on this historic moment from Gilead, and we want to remind you that Gilead is at the forefront. We have the 2030 project to try to have no new infections by 2030. The entire LGBTQ community stands with Gilead in those efforts in their HIV treatment and prevention programs, and it is always, regardless of which letter in our acronym you represent, it is always front of mind. Let us help remind you what Gilead does. Watch this.
Hi, my name is Micah, and I grew up in the Philippines, and I moved to the US in 2017. I currently live in Miami, Florida. I love fashion and wearing beautiful outfits. My dream is to be a model one day. I also create my own designs. I've learned pattern making and even bring some of my designs to life. I also like to be active and go kayaking, hiking, and camping with my girlfriend. I have a cat named Nala. Oh, she sleeps a lot. As a transgender woman, I want to share my story because it's liberating, and I know it's the right thing. I love seeing the transgender community represented along with other people in the Discovery for PrEP commercial. I feel it's a big step forward for visibility, but I haven't seen enough transgender representation in advertising, so I want to help bring that visibility to the transgender community, and I want us to feel seen and heard. I think we need people from within the transgender community who can advocate for us and provide more representation for the community as a whole.
Discovery for PrEP is a once-daily prescription medicine for adults and adolescents at risk of HIV. It helps lower the chances of getting HIV through sex. It's not for everyone. Discovery for PrEP is not for use in people assigned female at birth who are at risk of getting HIV from vaginal sex because its effectiveness has not been studied. You must be HIV negative before and while taking Discovery for PrEP. Talk to a healthcare provider about your risk for HIV and if Discovery for PrEP is right for you.
I'm doing educational outreach with groups of people like flight attendants, servicemen, healthcare providers, teaching these groups how to be better allies to the transgender community. I also have created presentations for high school and college students of all identities to help them educate about their HIV prevention options, including PrEP medication. As a PrEP navigator, I help educate my clients about their HIV prevention options, including PrEP medications. I also connect them with healthcare providers so they can start the conversation about their HIV prevention options.
Descovy does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections, so it's important to use safer sex practices and get tested regularly. You must be HIV negative to take Descovy for PrEP, so you need to get tested for HIV immediately before and at least every 3 months while taking it. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. They may check to confirm you are still HIV negative. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. The most common side effect was diarrhea. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Descovy without talking to your doctor.
I first learned about PrEP medications from my senior PrEP coordinator at work. My first thought was, wow, I can't believe something like this exists. When I was promoted to PrEP navigator, my job was to help encourage my clients to learn more about their HIV prevention. After doing some research, I decided if I was now going to be recommending that my clients talk to their healthcare providers about PrEP medication, then maybe I should talk to my doctor as well. So I started a conversation with my doctor to determine whether PrEP medication would be right for me. I started with a different PrEP medication, and then after talking to my doctor, I switched to Descovy for PrEP last year. For me, switching to Descovy for PrEP was a relatively straightforward process that didn't affect my daily PrEP routine. I always take my pill right before I go to bed when I take my hormones. As a PrEP navigator, when I see clients, it's not a one-size-fits-all. I believe in a holistic approach because every individual has different needs. I do my best to help my clients feel welcome so they will feel comfortable opening up about the care that they need when I refer them to the medical provider at the clinic. From what I've seen, some of my transgender clients are actually afraid of going to a clinical setting because they're scared of being scrutinized or being misgendered. At my clinic, I challenge my coworkers to be better allies to the transgender community because it's not just the medical providers that are accountable. It's the person at the front desk, the person who opens the doors for you, and the person who registers you. I think we need to put ourselves in our clients' shoes and listen with our hearts. If you're interested in learning more about Descovy for PrEP, talk to your healthcare provider.
The mic right there. Now we're getting ready to close our program. We have one special announcement after this, but very special remarks from Gilead's Senior Community Liaison for the HIV Division, Mr. Alex Munoz.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. I am thrilled to be a proud sponsor of this incredible woman who I met about 7 years ago. When she walked into my life and she said, "Hi, I'm Arianna, and I'm going to take over the world." And yeah, she's done that. She's done that. And we are so proud as a team to support Arianna Center. So what you just saw was our Descovy for PrEP commercial. If you want more information, I have strategically placed these pamphlets around the room for you to read at your leisure. And I want to introduce Ms. Micah Osorio and Ms. Leslie Mena. I am that gay, who is a fierce advocate for the T community. And you know why? This woman right here. In 2001, she walked into my life. We were buddies. We were testing counselors at a small agency in Little Havana. And she taught me what it was to be her. And I want to thank all of you who have the privilege of calling yourselves trans, because every day that you walk out the door, every day that you hold your head up high, every day you change the world. Micah, tell us what you do.
Hi, good evening. My name is Micah Osorio. I'm the PrEP Navigator for Care Resource. So before I Anything else, I just want to say I'm so happy and proud and lucky to be here inside our room with all these empowered women. Thank you so much for having me. So I work for Care Resources, the PrEP Navigator, and we offer different services from healthcare to medical, dental, behavioral health, and even HIV and STD testing. We also offer PrEP and also hormone replacement therapy for the transgender community, because we're trying to do our best to help this community that we all know we are all being scrutinized and marginalized by the society. So I'm so happy to have that commercial and open the doors for everyone and lend my voice to make a difference. Thank you.
On behalf of Gilead Sciences, Leslie Mena, Michael Osorio, we congratulate you, we thank you, and we uphold you.
Thank you, love you, Leslie. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Ali.
There's this old adage in the LGBTQ community, when you fight for every scrap at the table that you've ever fought for in a marginalized community, when you find allies that walk the walk and talk the talk, you become loyal to them forever. And that's what Gilead is all about. And we thank Gilead for their efforts. So, as we close, Gilead steps up for their support. Now we ask you, how can you help Arianna's Center celebrate their 7th anniversary? Oh wait, their 7th anniversary is not until the fall of 2022. How can you help celebrate the 7th anniversary? Well, we're providing you a QR code right now that helps in easily donating to the mission of Arianna's Center through their principal platform. You, of course, can also go to ariannacenters.org and see all kinds of details of the programs, advocacy, services, and of course, don't just sit on the site, support the site. But you can also have some fun while you do it. So we're very happy to tell you that it's time to get back in the world. At least that's what Royal Caribbean Cruise Line says, and we agree with them. And Royal Caribbean has partnered with Arianna Center to raffle a 6 to 8 night, you get to choose, cruise in 2022. There are QR codes in this room right now. We are showing you to the national and international audience. You can purchase raffle tickets. It's really super simple. And you can purchase these raffle tickets until later this month. And then Arianna Center is going to have a live Facebook event in terms of drawing for the cruise. So go on one of those they have the largest ships in the world. 6 to 8 night cruise, and oh, by the way, you get a balcony cabin in this drawing, which means if you've never explored the balcony late at night, that is a wonderful, wonderful. Wait, did I say wonderful?
I think this program has gone way too long, Al Ferguson.
All right. Speaking of that, our milestone event comes to an end. Arianna Lynn, we turn to you one final time. This 6th anniversary, it starts from Peru. It starts from support from people like your mother to 6 years later with a $200,000 grant from Gilead. Any final thoughts about your 6th anniversary?
Well, I want to say thank you so much. Also, I want to say thank you to my transgender sisters. All the way, I know this is going live, and maybe you at home, but you trust on my work, make me strong and make the community strong to others. Because when I go to funders, I say, I have what you want, so you have to work with me. Because you do this job for many years and you don't have the people. So I have, and I want to always thank you. Maybe over here we don't have too much audience for the weather, but you can see more of the 50% they are transgender women, and you don't see in any other events in the LGBT. So that's why I'm so proud. And I want to say thank you. That is a Queen Victoria? Oh my God.
Hey, Queen Victoria.
Oh my God, you surprised me. Thank you so much. She's coming from Los Angeles, and I want to say I'm proud to vlogs too, so thank you.
Well, congratulations. It's been a wonderful evening. We've learned a lot. We understand how important Arianna Center is, and our 6th anniversary event here live is proof of that. Let's have one final entertaining moment. And before we do, let me remind you that on Saturday, from the Pride Center at Equality Park, Transgender Day of Remembrance, say their names, is going to have the walk. You meet at the Pride Center, gather at the Pride Center at 6 p.m. on Saturday for the Remembrance Walk. Make sure you turn out. So, as I said, before we close Arianna Center's 6th anniversary celebration.
Can I just say one thing before you introduce this very special guest? So, after this very special guest will join us, the bar will remain open and we have plenty of food. So if you haven't eaten, please eat. If you want to eat again, eat some more. And the wine and the drinks are still free flowing. So don't go anywhere. Stay here with us for another little while. We're here till about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I will. As I said, before we close Arianna Center's 6th anniversary celebration, we're excited to have a special performance by Miss Universo Latina, Lorna Bando. And we remind you, we encourage you to tip. And the reason we do is not for Lorna, but part of her program is a give back to the next contest winner. So the tips that you donate tonight will donate to the program for next year's Miss Universo Latina. So let's bring her on now. Very beautiful. I met her earlier, Lorna Bando.
I want to watch him tip.
Give him a sense of Not long ago, Rita led me my whole team to celebrate